Welcome. My name is Dr. Eric Woodruff. I am the lead editor for the Certified Energy Manager program. You're probably wondering, what is that? So I thought I'd spend a few minutes walking through the agenda of the CEM program. And right off the top, I'm going to say why you want to pay attention to this. This is how to save money in buildings or really any entity. It's a 4-day program, and we really hit a lot of concepts. So starting off, we do some actual introductions. We want to get to know the crowd. If we do an in-person, event, we'll talk about some trends, policies, and why energy management is important. This is covered under climate reality and a lot of other places as well, but reemphasizing the problem that we're facing. And again, the whole focus of this program is practical, cost-saving ways that help the environment. So it pays for itself and helps the environment. That's really the focus of this program. Almost always on the demand side of the meter, the customer side of the meter, but it can be useful for utilities too. So anyway, back to the material here. We cover energy rates, tariffs, what a kilowatt hour is, what a BTU is, some basic transformations between those two things, just basically energy foundations for most of the first part of the first day. Then we talk about energy audits, how to audit a building, how to audit a business. Maybe we use the word survey, a little less intimidating. We talk about energy instruments, and again, very high level stuff. This is not sophisticated, heavy science. You don't have to know everything about these instruments, but just a overview of what an instrument is, what an anemometer is, what a light meter is, things like that. We'll talk about codes and standards, again, very high level. And again, this is more on the point of it's an enabler of projects. If you have to do something by code, it requires energy efficiency. That can be the driver to get your project approved. And we talk about high performance green buildings, also a driver of energy projects. This section 1.8 is actually a video. You can watch it anytime. It's actually available on YouTube. It talks currently about local topics. In different countries, that means different things. But in the United States, really a big focus of discussion right now is the tax benefits, right? Some of these tax benefits can take a 5-year payback project or 20% return on investment and turn it into a, 50% return on investment if you understand these benefits. So worth knowing about it. We cover a little bit on the renewable tax credits as well. And so that's kind of the first day, okay? Second day, and there's again 4 days, so we're moving through this quickly. The second day, the first like 2 hours is covering what I would call Harvard MBA school for basics, okay? This is gonna teach you about net present value, life cycle costing, and a lot of really useful tools that chief financial officers use, language like that. So that's really, really useful, not just in your energy career, but way beyond that. If you speak that language, they're going to be able to understand you, and also you'll get more projects approved. So we cover all of that. And again, no more than algebra here. This is not complicated. We'll actually show you some very simple table methods that are much easier to use than probably the way you learned maybe in college. Electrical systems, motors and drives. Motors are the most popular appliance in buildings, so we have to cover that. We'll talk about drives, which have the opportunity to save like 50% of the energy on a motor and a very practical payback of 3 years or less. We'll be talking about drives. Lights are also in all buildings. We'll talk about some basic vocabulary, color rendering index, color temperature. And these are things you can actually find if you go to a store. You can see it on the light packaging. So this would help you understand that as well. Operations and maintenance has a lot of opportunities like fixing steam leaks, fixing compressed air leaks, doing some very basic things that have very high returns, 200% return on investment on a lot of those ideas. So worth knowing about as well. On day 3, we get into HVAC and we talk basically, single zone, multi-zone. We also talk about controls and building envelope, all in this part of that day. And that'll be just some basic overview of, what are these different vocabulary words like proportional, integral, derivative. Again, you don't need to know calculus, but just understanding what it means, because, vendors and people in the energy industry use these terms. It's good that you know what a chiller is, things like that, what a variable air volume distribution system is. Again, just knowing, not really knowing too much on the detail, but just understanding a lot of vocabulary there. Energy storage is a growth area because we have tremendous, growth in batteries and other thermal storage options. We're going to talk about all of that stuff, and you'll be able to calculate with very simple math, how long your batteries would last in an outage, right? Based on current loads in your facility, things like that. How long it might take to charge your car, things like that that can be very useful to you. We also have added recently a decarbonization and DSG accounting because this is so important. We are so good at saving energy. I mean, literally, you can take this class, probably go save 100K in a large business the next week. Happens all the time. But if you can save energy and then also quantify what the carbon savings is, that is a whole nother value stream. And we have this section here. It's only about 30 minutes. Again, it's a video type situation. It's a video you can watch at your leisure. Um, and it will show you very quickly how to calculate the the carbon savings from your energy initiatives. Finally, in the CEM program, we have some open time for Q&A, whether it's an in-course or the on-demand. We also offer that Q&A, and I'll talk about that in a couple minutes. Day 4, last day, we talk about boilers and combustion systems. We talk about steam and the enthalpy values of steam. Again, this sounds complicated, but it is not that hard. We go through that. A lot of people really like this section. Very, very useful in saving energy. And we talk about distributed generation and renewable energy. So distributed generation can also be combined heat and power plant, but renewables is definitely a growth area. We talk about solar, we talk about wind, we give some real case studies, what the return on investments are. I'm routinely seeing between 12 and 15% return on investment every single year, which is better than my 401k. So we're going to talk about all of that stuff on the last day, and also cover a tiny bit on industrial systems. There are a few people in the CEM class that are interested in compressed air savings and waste heat recovery. And again, it's a niche area. You don't have to know all of these sections to pass this exam. And even if you don't pass, you're going to save a lot of energy by understanding the terminology and the basic concepts. The final section is performance contracting, which is a financial vehicle to get projects done. That is sometimes necessary if you don't have any upfront capital to do something. This will show you how to finance a project, lease versus buy, capital lease versus true lease. A lot of terms, but not a lot of math. Just a lot of understanding there, help you avoid possibly a lawsuit or other problems that are possible. So that's kind of the whole course. We do a Q&A at the end of the 4th day also. It gives you a chance to answer, get any question you have answered about the exam, about the slides, about the quizzes that we give. And also we give you about 200 practice problems in this course. So you have a tremendous amount of time to practice what's probably going to be similar to the format of the exam. We also give you full size tables and charts that you can use outside of the program. But again, you got sample problems and solutions to those problems. So it's a pretty popular course. Most people really enjoy it. Well, actually, it's the most popular energy management certification for commercial buildings and entities, businesses, et cetera, in the world. And actually, just recently earned Energy Skilled certification for homes as well. So very, very good program for that. And you can take it in a few different ways. The traditional in-person classroom setting, I've been doing that since I haven't been doing that, but we have, the AEE has been doing this since 1981. And that's great because you get to network with other people and you get real-time Q&A with the instructor and have breaks and all that stuff. Virtual is an option. Since COVID, we've had that out there, and basically it's no travel. You get the same real-time collaboration, real-time Q&A. It's just like during class, but you're on a Zoom meeting. Okay, so there's advantages and disadvantages. No travel costs. That's a big attractive feature right now for a lot of companies and organizations. And then there's finally this on-demand thing, which is fantastic and has just as good a pass rate as the other two options. And why this is so popular is there's no travel. And one thing I hadn't thought about is the ability to pause. They can pause the recordings, go over things several times. I think they have 6 months to access all the, I think it's 26, 27 hours of recordings, and they can get all that knowledge in kind of a binge watch format. So you have a lot of different ways to absorb this information, do it at your own pace, do it compressed in a week, which has been the most popular way for decades. But all of them are equally give you a chance to pass this exam. And again, even if you don't pass, you still will be able to deliver value. So I encourage you to understand this a little more. Hopefully this overview is giving you a little bit of something to think about for the Certified Energy Manager Program, at least give you an idea of what it's about. And I hope you go save some energy. Have a great day.